You can see the screen?
Yes, it is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
we will talk about some trends on the future of trade. And the only thing you see the screen, you don't see my other secret stuff, my mailboxes, right? So I'll just talk about not all the trends, only certain trends. So this study was conducted from 2016-17 onwards, and it kept getting updated. It was done with the collaboration of about 14 odd bodies, but most important of them I have listed here. It's Oxford Business Group, NYU, DMCC, Dubai, which is the government of Dubai body, Future Agenda, and Astro Labs. So the prediction, which we all know, that in 2050, within our lifetimes and within the second generation of your students, we will have more than 9.6 billion people on the planet, which will mean that additional 2.5 billion people will need to be fed, will need to be found employment, and also they will need to communicate each other with a faster pace. That was the first trend. That was the first premise on which the whole study was based. So one very interesting observation came that the worlds are getting closer, the people are getting closer, the communication speed or the distance between people, countries, nation is getting shorter in terms of physical distance, in terms of travel distance, but the minds, the thought processes are getting narrower across the planet. Small companies will get big in no times and vice versa. So the unicorns will not be so rare. So there'll be so much commonplace that soon we will have to find a new word for not so rare commonality of unicorns. Affordable talent crisis means you will have many skilled people, but the right people for the right job will still be in scarcity. So there is a great opportunity for any educational institution like ITS to produce talented students who are relevant to the jobs they are looking for. So good people for the right jobs are still not available at an affordable price. So this was a takeaway message across the globe. Rise of the smarter companies will find, and imagine some of these findings were before pandemic, the rise of the smarter company through e-technology, through digitalization will rise. Companies will automate their processes. More than 75% of their workforces will work from home. And that will also make the company responsible because there'll be more inclusion or more involvement of technology, which will make companies responsible and people more honest. We have seen in our country that when the technology has invaded our lives, there was less interface between the people who could say, for want of any better word, for demand drives. So when the technology ends it, the corruption becomes less and people become more honest. Mass engagement. We have seen this in American election when Obama got elected, or in our national elections. The theory is the mass engagement. More of the maximum number of people we can reach directly is going to be the winner. We will drive consumers, direct marketing, direct outreach. But at the same time, there'll be another niche because everything is getting digitalized, human touch is being lost. There will be a niche where there'll be a sub-industry where there is still no substitute for human touch. Assisted age living. There is no alternative for certain industries where the human touch will still be important. Machines AI, IoT, cutting edge technologies will do thinking for us. We will be living in a robotized world very soon, sooner than we realize. The cost differentials between the trade, how much is the product cost, how much does it take to take a goods A from a country like India to Europe, the cost components of things will change. The coffee which we drink at a Starbucks has only 8% of the cost. The flowers which we enjoy in our living rooms have 80% of the freight inbuilt in that. So these components will go completely crazy. The cars and trucks will be completely driverless, and the goods will be delivered in just in time without much interruption. The last mile delivery will become absolutely important. The time from the time ordering and by the time it gets, it will also have some digital component to it. There'll be many things which you will get at a fraction of a second because the delivery points gonna be right in the clusters where people live. They could be maybe in your society, in your apartment building. So imagine a wholesaler putting certain things in your home and you can order at will. So this is how we are going to go in the future. Governments will become weak because they will lose control because of the rise in technology, but they will become more interventionist, they'll become more bossy. They will try to interfere more in day-to-day things because they will lose control. Example is how they are trying to understand and regulate the cryptocurrencies is an example of that. There will be nothing private anymore. Not only they will hound Dr. Sunita Shukla for buying their favorite brand of cars, but they will also make sure that if there's an IoT and if Dr. Sunita Shukla gives them permission to the IoT at some point might place an order for the car and debit her account if she gives this kind of permission to the AI. Ideas have been creating wealth for thousands of years, but they will create more wealth. So there'll be more wealth creation by ideas rather than simple brick and mortar business, no matter how much try we foul for the valuation games. Money will become total paperless. As of now, about out of $90 trillion, which is there in the money, 10% of that money is in paper and coin forms. 90% of money is between the bank accounts to clearing mechanism. But at some point of time, the entire money will become paperless. And data, your information, we will become a number, and our number will be assigned to a large pool. So our information is the dollar value or the value of our existence, and the one who can churn it, the one who can mine it effectively, will be at the forefront of business innovation. In other than the countries, the mega cities will rise, they compete, they will collaborate. So there'll be congregation. More than 60 to 70% of the human population in next 50 years will gravitate towards the cities, and there'll be a culture of large megapolis running efficiently and collaborating and competing with each other. And we will see cities attracting and inviting people to live there and have the critical mass. Africa is an often forgotten story. We talk about South Asia, we talk about North America, but Africa, which had the landmass combined, India, China, and US, and Europe combined, it's 51 countries, will be a new forefront. Many things are still, the penetration of the technology is still very low. That will be a forefront. China, we can hate it, we can love it, but we can't ignore it. So Chinese will rise. If we're not able to compete, we will have to collaborate with them, we'll have to compromise with them. But this is here to stay. Good for bad, I cannot say, but China will remain a very strong factor in our next 40, 50 years, along with India, of course. Power will shift where it was 200 years ago. 200 years ago, it was towards east, and that's where it is coming back. That's why I said about China. So China, India, and South Asia will play an important role. More from the economic strength rather than military strength, because the markets are going to be here, innovation is going to be here, and the scale, as Mr. Puneet said, that there are not many countries where you can have a $3 internet connectivity. There are not many countries where you can have almost free internet. There are not many countries where such a poor population has huge inroads in internet connectivity and smartphones. So the power is shifting 200 years back where it was towards east. and everything will become digital and connected. There are about 1.2 trillion sensors as of today, 2021, which can be connected to Bluetooth, it could be Wi-Fi, it could be other technologies. So they will become connected, and that's how the information and technology will become more fungible with each other. Future of trade is digital, disruptive, and dynamic. But as I said, hopeful. Some examples which are completely crazy are: this is a plane built by Airbus in 2017, which is completely printed in a lab, in a 3D lab, and it flies. So all the parts are printed, other than some parts, internal parts. This plane actually flies, and it was printed in a lab. And not only that, even the food, the meat, as we eat, like the mutton, chicken, lamb, it is being grown in the factories to remove the stigma of killing an animal or ethical dimensions. It is expensive right now, but like solar energy, at some point of time, it's going to become cheap. And it's my favorite quote: the future is already here. It is just not evenly distributed among the users. But in India, it is still very much at the forefront.
Thank you,
So
sir.
this was the little bit presentation. Um, so coming back again, other than these trends, for a country like India, we have, for a population of 1.4 billion, or say 140 crore, we still have we have only 1.4 crore people who pay tax, which is 1% of the population. We have 0.83% people who declare that they have their own house. And from this 1.2 crore people who declare they have their own house, only 8,000 people say they have the second house. Then there is only 2.2% Indians who have one car. But when it comes to technology, we have 1.2 billion mobile phone connections, roughly as much as entire population, and 700 million smartphone on internet connection, which means more than 60% of the population has internet connectivity. This is the power of digitalization. So you have 1% taxpayers, you have 1% to 2% car owners, but you have 60% people who have smartphones or the internet connectivity. So this is the power of digitalized world. And with this, I'm very happy to be here and listen to other deliberations. We can also take questions and answers, but my details can be shared by Dr. Sunita Shukla to all the people who are attending. And very happy to be here. Over to you, Dr. Sunita.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Student can
Question.
ask questions. Tarushi, you can take questions and ask on the behalf of students, or student can directly ask questions.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Yes, Imran?
I just want to ask a question. When artificial intelligence is taking a big pie in every sector, so which skill would help us in sustainable future?
By mastering artificial intelligence, at the end of the day, Imran, intelligence is artificial. It is derived from your sum total. So if you learn to master the artificial intelligence, you will be the master of your destiny. So idea is not to let the artificial intelligence overpower us, but to have a collaborative approach with it. So when you can't fight something, join them. So you must skill your capabilities to understand and not simply disregard that. So basically we have to understand, like, for example, what is the best thing when you want to join technology? I tell my friends, their children, my students, that I have tremendous respect for a coder. I have less respect for a marketer or a storyteller like me who's selling the coder story, but I have a tremendous story for a coder because he enables me to take my product to the masses. At the end of the day, technology or artificial intelligence is nothing but a tool to deliver what we can think in the mind to the market.
Okay.
Over to you, Dr. Sudhakar.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Sana, I would like to add to this, very interesting question. Which a student, probably an MBA student, said that how do I leverage artificial intelligence into my into my skill set? Now, as a part of Key Solutions, I do train a lot of the industry folks as well as the college students, and try to bridge the gap between the industry and the academia, which is actually widening. There was a economic forum study which said that the college education as of today is not preparing the students for the jobs of tomorrow. And but when I narrow down the subset, for example, if you were to ask an engineering student, obviously, learning Python, stuff like that is very important. But when I speak to MBA students, you have a macro base. First, you need to understand Philip Kotler, marketing, the fundamentals of marketing, because that's not going to go away. Digital transformation is the new age channel which is coming, and more companies are going online, and they are focusing on digital skill set. So if you're an MBA student, probably the machine learning or neural networks or image lens may not help you, but things like personalized ads, that's become, as Sunita Shukla ji was saying, and I keep at her example that pressed her for buying that, for buying that car because of the personalized stuff. Now, if you look at the new age companies like Flipkart and Myntra or whatever, there is a lot of data mining which is happening. You have maybe X number of consumers who are coming in. These guys, the computers decide what are their preferences and what are the personalized ads which need to be broadcast to them. So if you were to find yourself these companies, traditional marketing is fine, but how you are going to leverage, what are the case studies, in e-commerce, how you are going to put across a personalized ad to a digital persona. We call everyone who is online from the organization's perspective as a digital persona, and each digital persona is different. One digital persona could be from Jharkhand, another could be from Delhi, another from Bombay, and somebody would be a millennial, some would not be a millennial. Cafe Coffee Day and FMCGs are heavily using Instagram. So it comes down. My first job, which taught me, was I was just a native engineer, and then in my time there was 8085 programming by, and I told my boss that I love 8085 programming, and I'm going to go that way. And root shock, which he told me, that's great, 8085. Now, but since you've joined the industry, I would prefer you to forget it and get application. And what was that application is understanding customers. sitting in the front of people skills, designing use case studies from the perspective of the industry domain which you guys serve. And so the skills are in application engineering still. You've got to understand the whole context, you know, because यहाँ पे अब रट्टा and घोड़ा नहीं चलेगा. You know, I still remember my chemistry periodic table, which I probably am ashamed, but you know, this is how the Indian education system. You know, I can by I can say hydrogen, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon, sodium, magnesium, aluminum, silicon, phosphorus, without even bating a breath. Is this knowledge relevant? You know, the first 20, it is from the industry perspective. Once you have gone out of the academia, it is not relevant. What is relevant is what domain your organization is, how well you will serve the customer, how well you will leverage the tools of the new digital age. Now, even in digital marketing, there are
Right,
about
sir. Right. Thank you
150
so much for
tools.
your words, sir.
I
Thank you.
know,
Thank you so much
you know,
for your
because I consult to a lot of companies.
Puneet,
There are
sir.
150 tools by which, even when you're posting your Facebook post, at what time makes a difference on the internet. So, depending upon
Thank you. Thank you so much for your
research your industry, research the domain you're going to be, research your customers, and learn how you're going to serve them well. And you know,
Sunita ma'am,
you guys need
Puneet sir. Yeah, Puneet sir.
course need require
Puneet sir.
we conduct
Puneet sir.
workshops to make you understand the industry better, and so
Puneet sir.
that you know that promotion which you've been waiting for, or that business for, becomes much easier.
Puneet sir. Actually, students have some few more questions. Please, I would like to. I'm sorry that I would like to stop you.
We would like to take up a few actually for sir. Have any questions to Mr. Sudhakar, sir? Please ask it to him. Have any questions to Mr. Sudhakar?
Yeah.
Yes. Ask the question.
Yes. Hear you. Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, Deepak, you have raised your hand. Please, you can ask
Yes, I can
questions.
hear you. Yeah.
Sir, I am asking that.
Okay.
Don't
Don't have any. Okay. Do you have any other question? Do you have any other question?
Sir, I have a question. So,
Yes, Ankit, please ask.
yes, sir. Right now, I'm just working in Zogima Social as a Salesforce developer, or as well as in Dynamic. Sir, can I relate AI in Salesforce or in Dynamic?
It's a technical question. I for sure do not have answer to that, but I'm sure you can. Probably somebody who's technically more qualified can answer this. I'm sure there must be some way to for you to collaborate, because artificial intelligence or machine learning is a very basic thing which started maybe 67 years ago. So I'm sure there are ways to collaborate with technology in your activities. While I'm here, through this forum, I want to inform Dr. Sunita Shukla, Shruti, and other people at ITS that if you have an ecosystem where you have students or past alumni who are into startups, essentially structured finance, anything related to food and agriculture and food processing, please forward them through Dr. Sunita Shukla. we have a very effective startup incubator program where we look at those ideas, we assess them, and if they are meaningful and they solve a problem, whatever you do, you must remember in mind that you must be solving an existing problem. If there is a problem and if you solve that, you have a good business case for a startup. So we look at them, we assess them, and then we curate them, we incubate them. So please, I'm very accessible. Please contact Dr. Shukla and let's do some good. Thank you very much, Dr. Shukla. Over to you.